Well, it looks like we've finally got a release date for Masters of the Universe Revelation. For those who are here just to find out the date, I'm not going to keep you waiting. According to Screen Rant, Part 1 of Masters of the Universe Revelation releases on Netflix on July 23rd. So we got 2 months, a 2 month wait, which I'm excited for. There were some images released. I think they look pretty good. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. If you want to stick around, check out the rest of the article. We're going to go through it. Also, from what I understand, a comic book was released for Revelation, like a prequel, which I found confusing because I was like, I thought that's what the whole 80s cartoon series was. But we'll go ahead with that as well. So the article written on Screen Rant by Rick Stevenson starts out Masters of the Universe Revelation. First look images reveal He-Man and Skeletor redesign. From what I see, they look pretty classic, just updated, more detail. Now, this article does mention that there are two He-Man projects at work, being worked on at Netflix. The other one is a CGI revival series aimed at younger audiences. The She-Ra cartoon that they came out with was aimed at younger audiences. And yeah, from what I saw of it, I had no interest in it. And I say that as a huge fan of the original She-Ra. I'm not going to go on a huge tangent about it. I'm just going to say that concerns me, but we'll see what that's all about when more details come out. Now, I apologize for holding up getting to the pictures. Just a couple of casting things I wanted to look at here. One, Lena Heady as Evil Lynn. If you've looked at images of her, she could play Evil Lynn in real life. I'm sorry, I don't know much about her acting. All I know is I think she's really good looking. But she played in Game of Thrones, and it seemed like people really loved that show. Well, at least up until the last season. But yeah, she's got that really dark look that would fit Evil Lynn perfectly. I wonder if that had any influence on the casting. I don't know. Maybe it influenced the look. Sometimes characters look like the voice actor, but then again, Evil Lynn's look was already predetermined. I was a huge fan of her in 2002. I was a much younger man then. Much less in control of myself. I'm sorry. Don't at me. However, something else that really caught my eye was Henry Rollins as Triclops. Now, I had always thought that... Yeah, Triclops. I'm thinking of the right guy. I always thought of Triclops as more of like a techie guy, that he was more of the nerd at Snake Mountain or the strategist. But no, Henry Rollins, the last thing I think of is calm. The guy's known for being a little intense. Yeah, he's the guy can really get in your face. Something else here was Phil Lamar, who's a legend in voice acting as Hero. I had to look this guy up. I went to the wiki, and there's a family lineage there, and apparently he's the father of King Grayskull, and where Grayskull got his powers from. Longtime descendant of both He-Man and She-Ra. Some other family member named He-Ra. So yeah, it gets a little complicated. I'll put a link to this article in the description, so that way you can read about it and see if you can untangle it. So this is classic. We have He-Man and Battle Cat, and if you look, hopefully you can see my mouse here. There's the traditional H, but it's been kind of stylized, so it doesn't, it's not like outright in your face like an H. I think that they're going something kind of like Superman, where the S on his chest doesn't mean S for super, it means like hope or something like that. I'm sure that that's going to be a symbol that means something else, but it just happens to be an H. But we'll see what they decide to do with that. Who knows? Maybe they'll just come straight out and be, yeah, it's H for He-Man, so I don't forget my name. And then, oh boy, I remember having the Battle Cat figure as a kid, and you couldn't pose it. It was stuck in, it's like a plastic mold. And then they went and painted it purple and said, oh, and this is Skeletor's Battle Cat. Here you go, buy it twice, you little... Here you little brat. Buy the same piece of plastic twice. Oh, but we fell for it. Oh man, I bugged the hell out of my parents for it. And here's the classic Captain of the Guard, Teela. And from what I understand, hopefully it's a side story, but we'll see, it might be the main story. But Teela is going to be looking for the Sword of Power. Somehow Eternia is doomed unless the Sword of Power is found. And we have to remember, not only is Teela Captain of the Guard, the best hand-to-hand fighter, she's also the daughter of the Sorceress. She is a child of destiny, and this was all set up back in the original cartoon series. She is meant for great things. That story was set up a long time ago, so I have no problem with her playing a major role in this. In fact, a lot of characters should play a bigger role. Back in the day, it seemed like it was just He-Man shows up, saves the day, yay, we all cheer, then buy the merchandise. That was something that the 2002 series kind of got right, was the characters have more of, well, character. So I am looking forward to that. And I like this take on her traditional uniform. I mean, if you... I don't know if that's the uniform. And then there's Beastman. You notice how they're all looking like their original counterparts? I'm loving this. Sadly, for as much of a major player as he was, I don't know much about Beastman. I think the 2002 series went into him a little bit more, but quite frankly, I just can't remember what his whole backstory was. He seemed like Skeletor's hired muscle. Now, in my opinion, here's a bit of a departure. This is Prince Adam. He's looking much smaller and thinner here, which would make sense. Even whenever I was younger, I was confused at the fact that when you put the He-Man and Prince Adam figures right next to each other, they were the same size. Prince Adam looked like He-Man with just a pink shirt on. Now here, he's thinner. He looks almost frail, but maybe that's just the way they chose to do the shadowing. It could be just the animation style. But to me, it would make more sense for, of course, Prince Adam, he's not going to be a big Hulk. He's a prince of a kingdom. He's probably being taught diplomacy, strategy, leadership. King Randor probably isn't looking at him like, oh, you're going to be on the front line, son. Let's face it, royalty don't put their own children on the front line of the battlefield. But of course, as always, I'm thinking too far into it. Most likely he was made thinner to, let's face it, it makes it harder to believe that he could be He-Man. It's not like Clark Kent taking off his glasses and suddenly he's Superman, right? Like, nobody's gonna, like, no one can put that together. It makes it much easier to hide his identity. I wonder if they're going to go with the same line that the 2002 series did, where Teela would kind of make fun of Prince Adam. Well, I shouldn't say make fun of him, but kind of pokes at him for disappearing whenever battles come out. I think that, yeah, she was a much better hand-to-hand fighter than Prince Adam was. And so she would kind of poke fun at him a bit about that. Could you imagine being a teenage boy or even early 20s having to deal with that? Like, eventually you're going to break down and be like, I'm He-Man, you know? But then again, I mean, that's the classic story of all superheroes that have a secret identity. They have to deal with being treated like they're, let's face it, normal, or that they're even a chicken because they always disappear when danger breaks out. Peter Parker deals with that. But then again, the cover story could always be that Man-at-Arms gets Adam out of danger because he's the prince. He needs to be gotten to safety, when really they're taking him to a phone booth to become He-Man. But you know, I can't wait to see the classic transformation scene, and because you know that they're going to tweak something, they're going to change something to try to make it more epic, which I believe can be done. Now, this is Moss Man, and I think the original figure was Yeah, I think it might have been Beast Man, just covered with this fuzzy material that hair and everything would get caught up in. However, I wonder what they're really going to do with him. Is he going to be like Swamp Thing, where he can just completely vegetate, or is he going to be more like a humanoid just covered with moss, which I think is what he was in the original series? Yeah, I kind of see him probably having powers similar to Swamp Thing. But the fact that he's this prominent in the picture makes me think he's going to play a major role. I never really considered Moss Man to be a major player, so, but then again, Scareglow, I guess, is going to be a major player in this series, so who knows? Who knows what they're going to do with these characters? Hero, a character I'd never really heard of before, is going to be playing a major role. If they got Phil Lamar to do that person, to do his voice, it's going to be major. And there's the man, the Dark Lord himself. Is he going Super Saiyan here? Is he super... I like it. And I always thought it was interesting how even though his face is a skull, he can still emote. It always made me think that he was some kind of magical being. I understand he's a being that can use magic, but he himself was a magical being instead of just having acid thrown on his face. But then again, that comes from me as a child trying to justify to my friends how Skeletor's eyebrows can move. Because, the older kids pick on you and they're like, well, if Transformers are made out of metal, then how do their faces move? And I'm like, it's some form of liquid metal, duh. And we have the Sorceress, again, keeping the classic look. I'm very happy that they did that. Given how this series seems like it's going to be playing more into what is actually in Castle Grayskull, the secret of the Sword of Power, how it's going to save Eternia from its doom, I wonder exactly what's going to be revealed about her. I know we've learned a lot more about her over time, but I feel like there's more to it. Or at least I feel like Kevin Smith, well, I shouldn't say Kevin Smith, but he's going to have input, and he's going to ask the writers to do something with her to make things much bigger. I wonder if Teela is going to ascend to being the Sorceress. But we'll see what happens. Sorry, that's not a spoiler. That's just me, fan theorizing. Okay. So in this image, there's several characters here I recognize, and several I do not. In the back is Roboto, who's covered up. I think his chest is supposed to be clear, and you can see the gears going on. I think in the original series, he was created as like a computer by Man-at-Arms, and I think they played chess, or was that in the 2002 series? Now, Evil Lynn over here to the far right, it seems like they changed her quite a bit. She looks like something out of Viking lore over here, like she's getting ready to club somebody. And I find it interesting that she's standing with the heroes. But then again, Evil Lynn wouldn't be above playing both sides, but with a name like Evil Lynn, it's kind of hard to pretend to be one of the good guys. Then on the far left, this is definitely Orco. Several changes made, like his robes are tattered, which may have been in the original series, but I don't remember. I just remember the action figure, which was just a solid piece of plastic. You can move the arms up and down, and then you pulled a ripcord and you can set him down and you would go flying across the table and drive your parents nuts. However, two other things that caught my eye was this tassel at the top of the hat, and then the eyes are huge and detailed. They're not just yellow. It's like a Sailor Moon character is hidden underneath there. I wonder if they're going to keep the same trope where his magic spells never work the way that they're supposed to. I always kind of like the idea that he's actually very, very powerful, but there's just some kind of... There's something going on with him to where... Oh, wait, hold it. Was it because his magic doesn't work the same in Eternia as it works in Trolla? Trolla's his homeworld. But then again, I think he visited Trolla and he had the same problem. Had a bit of a girlfriend out there, I think. However, the middle two characters, I don't know. I imagine they're new characters being introduced, or something that kind of scares me is that the middle one is got the same hair color and color outfit as Teela. Please don't let this be. Don't tell me that Tila up and changes her outfit and shaves the side of her head. Oh, Dark Lord, please don't let that be true. Oh, please don't tell me she puts on different armor, shaves the side of her head, and says that she's the hero that Eternia needs. Please don't let that happen. Please, God, give me strength. If that happens, I'll eat my desk. Okay, back on point. If I had to guess, I would say they're probably guards under the command of Tila. I think it'll be interesting to see what the writers do with new characters being introduced into this world. Now, granted, Eternia has a lot of characters to work with, but let's face it, most of them are very outlandish, and it'll be interesting to see how some Eternian citizens who volunteered for King Randor's army, to see how they react to all this weird stuff happening around them. Maybe that's what they're for. Maybe they're the foils. Maybe we, the viewers, see things through their eyes. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Another image of He-Man obviously getting ready to swing at somebody. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I think it's a very good mix of the old and the new. And there it is. The clash of those ancient foes. Well, I shouldn't say ancient. It's only been 30 years. It just makes me feel old as hell. I wonder if they're going to explain how Skeletor can sometimes go toe-to-toe with He-Man. You know, they fight and they parry their weapons. And I remember as a kid thinking, wait, hold it, wouldn't Skeletor go flying through a mountain or something? While the physical clashes are amazing to watch, I always thought that would be more of a fight between might and magic. But then again, maybe magic enhances Skeletor's strength to where he can fight He-Man almost on an equal footing. But given how this is supposed to have a more compelling story, I have a feeling they're going to do something to make Skeletor a real viable threat to He-Man. And like I said, I just want to touch on the fact that a comic book is coming out that's going to lead up to Revelation. And here we see a nice, I guess this is what the cover is going to be. This is on Geeky Tyrant. And this is the synopsis I wanted to cover. In the comic book, following a vicious Orlax attack on his father, King Randor, He-Man learns the creature is linked to the origin of the Sword of Power. To save Randor and put an end to the chaos, He-Man embarks on an epic journey that pits him against his longtime foes Skeletor and Evil Lynn, and sees Tila take the reins of a powerful legacy. So like I was talking about before, the story kind of splits. We got He-Man's story and Tila's, which, like I said before, it makes sense. Tila's destiny was hinted at in the original cartoon. And thinking about that, if enough happens in that comic series, maybe that will explain why Evil Lynn is standing with the heroes. Maybe something big enough happens in that story that Evil Lynn flips sides. But then again, she could be just backstabbing the heroes. We never know. As we all know, Evil Lynn's a bit of a naughty girl. But from what I understand, there's going to be a cover and then a variant cover. Of course, this is what we expect. This is how He-Man Skeletor should look. However, what I found interesting was the variant. As I looked at this, I was like, that's a very odd and unique art style. And then I recognized where I saw it before. I really think that the, Hellboy comics are drawn like this. Okay, alright, that's why. A variant cover, that highlight's horrible. A variant cover will feature art by Mike Mignola. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. However, that is the person who did the art for the Hellboy comics. Or at least the covers. I don't know much about Hellboy or Mike's career. But whenever I looked him up, this is immediately what came up. So tell me what you think. Are you excited or are you skeptical? Do you think things are going in the right direction? Or should they have made it darker, Conan kind of world? Which wouldn't exactly make sense whenever it's coming from the 80s world, which was the hokey campy cartoon rah-rah yay good guys kind of show. I'm a little disappointed that the second project is going to be aimed at kids. I had somebody comment in one of my other videos where he would like to see a darker He-Man world, which I think would be interesting, but maybe that's because, let's face it, all the He-Man fans have grown up now. Even if you were a fan of the 2000 series, you're probably in your 20s about now. This is Heretic Prince, and you have a great day.